Hello Galactic family. There is an energy that surrounds this earth with an increasing effect that is masked in principle, while at the same time, it departs from the true values of the heart. Although it seems to defend moral righteousness and concern for others, this energy is really devoid of love and all the qualities that derive from love, such as kindness, tolerance, and compassion. This energy influences our collective and individual consciousness so that we no longer remember the space to return in our hearts when events or difficult circumstances are happening. We forget the space of love and trust that is intrinsic to our deepest nature, and we become susceptible to false energy that uses convincing words to create the impression that it has our best interests at heart. This energy is an energy of profanation. It draws us away from the remembrance of the sacred, from which love derives, for love in all its many aspects involves the sacredness of life and the beloved. He cannot act against himself because his nature is to bless and his hope is to give to the beloved. The energy of desecration eliminates our memory of love as a viable possibility. It is not that we do not remember the word love. It is that we no longer think of it as a valid means to live life on a solid basis from which to act. The energy of desecration leads us to feel that only the most violent emotions of anger, despair and fear are reasonable reactions to the events around us, and some people are more vulnerable to one of these emotions, some to others. The energy of desecration keeps us from remembering that the way of love is a force in the world that can change consciousness, and change consciousness can change all the events that arise from an inner motivational space that we would like to eradicate. The energy of profanation leads us to believe that only power and force can change things. This leads us to believe that the fear of what can happen to us without strengthening our ability to use more force is the only viable reality. We, who are participating in this time in history, come here to do just this, to participate through our response to the events that surround us, events that are often difficult and disturbing to the heart, because they are the opposite of the way we want human beings to behave with each other. However, we came here to participate and witness this time of difficulties, which is also a time of transition for this country and for the earth as a whole, and how we respond to it depends on what we believe. If we believe that external events determine how we should react, then we will be victims of the influence of the energies that are sweeping this earth, which would drive us further into fear, despair, division, and anger. If, however, we remain faithful to the space of light and love within us, if we believe that there is a space to be within ourselves, beyond fear, anger and despair, then aligned with the power of our own soul, we will become a force for change in the world, a force that will eventually bring about a change of values, so that the values of the heart can be expressed as the values of government and its leaders, and the values of this nation as a whole. To do this, we must stand firmly in our hearts and remember the sacred. We must remember love. Often, when emotions are intense and fear seems to be the only reasonable response to external events, we forget. We do not want to forget, but we are overcome by emotions generated that are not love. Let us, at this time, commit ourselves to remembering and remaining true to our belief in love as a positive force for change. For, what we change when we do this, is not initially the belief of others, but access to their hearts from which these beliefs come. As we remain faithful to the principle of light in our heart and soul, which is the principle of love, we become agents of change for a world in great need of hope and a positive vision of the future. Let this be our commitment and our promise to ourselves and others, then, to remain true to love and to believe in its potential to restore the sacred in our lives.